Oh, Jesus Christ, that's hot. That's actually way hotter than I expected it to be. Oh, Jesus. How's everybody doing today? It's your boy, Sir Nevels. And a little quick disclaimer before I even get the yapping. It's going to be a little bit of a long one. It's going to be a long chit chat I want to have here because, sometimes I get a thought in my head and, not a lot of people in my reality can relate with me, so I can't really talk to people in my reality. And I'm not like a serial killer or a psychopath that just kind of talks to myself in the corner. If you talk to yourself, I'm not calling you a serial killer or a psychopath. Just I'm not the most successful at talking to myself because I feel kind of odd because I kind of like get really emotional when I talk. And again, like maybe not emotional, passionate when I speak. So obviously, I don't have a big following on this channel, but it allows me to say things and feel like I'm talking to someone that's not myself. Okay, let's get into the discussion today because I don't want to make it too long, but I have a problem being a little long-winded. So I'm trying to make what I'm saying not feel too ranty and just kind of going off on tangents. I'm gonna try my best to keep it under wraps. So start off here. So today, you know what? I'm just gonna get straight to the cut right to it. It's just been a lot of doom and gloom in the community of Age of Empire. And believe me, I'm new to the RTS scene. I'm not going to talk like I've been here for a while or I grew up on RTS or I've been playing since I was 4 or 5. I played RTS when I was 4 or 5, but yeah, nothing serious. And before I even get into the main topic, I want to make a statement, but I don't want to make it come off like I'm coming at this community because really I'm not. There's actually a rivalry. There's a civil war within the Age of Empire community. As goofy as that sounds, it really is. There's a civil war between the two most popular games in the franchise. And I didn't realize that it was actually a real thing. And it's kind of crazy. So I'm just gonna cut right to it. So the civil war is between Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 3. It's not, no, let me correct that. It's not 3. 3's not really up there with competition. Okay, it's Age of Empires 2 and 4. And I wouldn't call it a rivalry because 2 is actually kind of blowing 4 out of the water right now. So, but okay. See, I told you about tangents. I do it a lot. This is not even the topic, so I'm trying to be brief with this one. First, I'm going to say one thing. Age of Empires 2 is a very good game. I have never, ever once. I would be kind of oblivious to actually think that Age of Empires 2 is a bad game. Actually, the game is like a legacy game. It's very respectable. Literally, the game dropped in 1999. There are literal, little documentaries and just overviews of how the game has just grown into such a vibrant community and how it's still alive over 20 years later, which is really impressive. You play the game is thick. THICC, thick with 2 C's with content. The game is good. Believe it or not, my debut, I didn't say that word right. Debut. Maybe I just can't say the word correctly. My gate into RTS was through Age of Empires 2. Like I said, I probably said this many times on the channel, many people I've spoken to. When I first started, when I was a kid, I played 2, obviously. When I was a little kid, I was probably 4 years old, 5. My brother played it, boom. And then I stopped playing it, RTS altogether. I think the only RTS game I really dived into was Halo Wars. I loved Halo growing up, and the Wars, I didn't realize that it was really an RTS or supposed to be one. I just saw it as a Halo game, tried playing it, played it for very minimum hours, and moved on. So, one thing I say to the Age of Empires 2 community is that it's very odd. I don't know if it's like a friendly rivalry. I don't know what kind of rivalry it is. And the reason, and I can probably make a whole video on this, so I'm not gonna go too heavy into it, because actually I might want to because there's really no disrespect when I'm saying this. But one thing I will say is that AoE 2, like, their community is on point. I mean, like, the pro scene's on point. Actually, the pro scene is, like, really on point. Those dudes are, like, actually friends. Like, it's actually really, like, I subscribe to a lot of pro players. I mean, like, Viper, of course. I subscribe to Hera, who's, like, I guess he's, like, kind of a meme in the AoE 4 community. I don't know, but I subscribe to Hera. I've watched, like, Jordan. I've watched, like, all of, like, was it GL? Gamer Legion? Yeah, I watched their tournaments, Wololo. I watched Wololo, the one that Wololo 4, I watched that one, and I watched, obviously 5 just came out. I know Tattoo, all that. I know I'm actually hit. I'm not like an AoE 2 hater. But with that being said, let's just cut to the chase here. You guys are kind of gatewaying the community. You guys kind of like gatekeeping the community a little bit. I mean, like, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's kind of like you guys are being a little dramatic and kind of gatekeeping the community a little bit. Because I get it. AoE 2 has survived a very long time, and no one wants the game to die. I didn't want the game to die. I mean, that'd be kind of sad if that game, like, actually got shut down, and, like, all the community who, like, has supported it for so long just are like, what? And all those guys who play the game, like, full time just, like, don't know what to do anymore. I mean, that would suck. I don't want the game to die. I mean, I want the game to stay healthy. But one thing I will say is, like, put it in more relatable, well, maybe some people more relatable terms. AoE 2 is like the big homie. Or it's like, it's like it's been around, you know what I'm saying? It's not new to this, it's true to this. AoE 2 has been around for a while. Now you got AoE 4 coming around. Let's be honest here. AoE 3, I mean, it had its time. I don't know. Maybe it had its time at one point, but AoE 3 really isn't as competitive with those two in the scene. And same thing, Age of Mythology was actually getting remade. But all the other AoE games really are just like got like, very dedicated communities, but they're not really like, they're not being supported, especially on the competitive level, which is very important in the RTS community. But, let me bring it in here because I kind of go on tangents. But, AoE 2 is the big dog. It's been around for a while as a very, very dedicated fan base. It's a legacy title. AoE 4 is the developers trying to push the agenda further, push it further. And if you prefer AoE 2 over 4, that's like, I'm not even going to argue with you. I mean, based on the content alone, I don't blame you for not, for just sticking with AoE 2, something you know. But let's not confuse us loving AoE 2 and acting like AoE 4 is a trash-ass game. Because that is going to lead into the segue of what I'm going to be talking about today. And what I'm talking about today is that Age of Empires 4 is not, and I repeat with a capital N, is not the same game that it was when it launched. Because I was on I think I was going through Reddit or something one day and I keep seeing this same tired. I'm talking about exhausted. I'm talking about this horse has been this horse has been beaten to death plenty of times. I'm seeing the same argument about how this game launched and how it was supposed to be the next it's supposed to be the next segue, the next AAA RTS game. It's supposed to be the revolution. It's supposed to be the next coming. It's supposed to be the rapture. AoE 4 came to save the RTS community. And believe it or not, it had that hype. It did. I looked at the numbers. The game, when the game first launched, it had like 50K plus people watching on Twitch. The player base reached a peak of like 68,000, maybe more. That's just Steam, not even counting Xbox Game Pass, where I first started playing it. And actually, my brother plays it to this day. So there's still, it was a lot of hype behind it. And yes, 100% correct. The developers and the way the game launched, especially me looking at, is that a word? Especially looking at the game now, compared to how it launched, the game had problems. 112%. I mean, I can name off 10 off the top of my head. 10 problems that the game launched with. That me, when I first started playing, as a new person to RTS on any type of competitive level, whether it was the lowest or just any playing online. I've never played RTS online in my life. So the first game that I've dived in RTS wise competitively that I didn't even notice because I'm new to the community. Take a quick little sip here, little sip of this tea, see if it's still pretty hot. Let's take a little sip. 1, 2, 3. It's pretty hot. Take a sip. Oh yeah, no, it's hot. 1 second. You know what I'm saying? Gotta make sure I got the talking voice right. Let's get back into it. But yes, I didn't know the game was in. I didn't know all these problems I saw. I didn't realize was like a standard in a lot of RTS games. So let's start though. Let's start. That's probably the most glaring red flag when the game first dropped. And not saying it has gotten much better now, but it's been a little update to it. But the game only having 8 civilizations. Of course, you know, I mean, you look at AoE 2, which kind of like they're 2 different games. They're 2 different games. I play both of them. They're not the same game. They can transition pretty nicely, but they're not the same game. Coming from AoE 2, and then at the time, I believe AoE 4's launch, I think it had like 39 civilizations. So you have the game that you've been playing heavy. A lot of people want to transition to the new game. They're going from 39 civs to pick from, even though we know how their civs are. They're a little different. They're civs. We're not even going to highlight that. But 39 civs, and the new game has 8. 8. That's like literally 31 less than what you had before. That can be a red flag. But listen, every AoE 4 player makes the same argument every time. They are drastically different. And that's true. That's something I can't argue with. They are drastically different. Those civilizations, a lot of people who played the game since launch. Shoot, I played the game Dangerous since launch. I still am only semi-fluent, semi-coherent. Let's say I know every civ, but when it comes down to efficiency, I give myself maybe 2 or 3 that I'm like efficient with. Good with, and I'm stretching it because I'm pretty trash at the game. Maybe 2. Efficient, maybe 3 or 4. I'm efficient. I know how some civs play, but you can know how a civilization plays, but reaching that goal efficiently, you know, is it going to be the same? And most likely, it's not. A player who's good with that civilization is going to achieve what you're trying to achieve way faster and way less flawed and way better. Everything is just not the same. Each civ is playing a new civ is like playing a new game. Dang there, it's like playing a new game. They play drastically different. You know, I mean, you've heard the same tired argument. I mean, if you play the game as English from the very start and you want to switch to the Mongols, good luck. Practice first. Look up some build orders. It's nowhere near the same. Good luck. Okay, we've hit that. Yes, 8 civs was not very good. Did not appeal. The curbside appeal was not there at first. Something else that I did not realize how bad was for the launch of an RTS game is no ranked mode. That was huge. I didn't realize without a rank mode, why the F play the game? Not climbing. I mean, yes, there was quick matches and there was they had some external software where it actually tracked the players based on their win rate and everything. They ranked them like kind of behind the scenes. But as far as actual ranking in ranked mode in like an actual ladder, which one thing that is still not in the game that the game needs, there needs to be an in-game leaderboard. That is well overdue. That is ridiculous. The game does not have an in-game leaderboard for something that's this critical of ranking. There's no in-game leaderboard. I'll be bitching about that until they put it in there. But anyway, there's still a whole website that now there's actually a ranked leaderboard. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself though. No ranked mode. That is horrible. Third, there was no mod support. There were no mods. See, I didn't know that coming into that. I didn't know that mods were big in RTS games, especially in Age of Empires 2. I didn't realize how important mods were. Mods are huge. Mods are very huge. I believe Age of Empires 2, I could be 100% wrong, and if I'm wrong, bash me, talk shit about me. I understand. I deserve it. But I believe that some mods in AoE 2, you can actually take onto the rank ladder because they're quality of life mods are just better. You know, it's like not going to actually affect, how you not make you win more. It just makes the game more accessible. But yes, no mod support. Horrible. Let's go number four. Fourth thing. Some unbalanced civilizations. And people who first start playing the game, you already know probably the first two that come to your mind. I mean, the French with their knights and how a lot of other civilizations weren't even countering them correctly. How the French knights are just, you get them on the field and you pretty much killed everything. Like everything. Like nothing countered the French knights. And then they had the chivalry. And then the French had the, which actually was nerfed and then brought back, the faster producing villagers. And how chivalry was actually way cheaper. And everything was, the French were just on point. And it's very hard for them to deal with. Like the French were just running the quick match ladder when the game first dropped. They were S tier across like pretty much everybody's board. And then the other S tier civ was the Mongols. The Mongols were insane. They were insane. I mean, I remember, I didn't even realize how good they were, but like I remember hearing about tower rushing and town center rushing, which we'll get to talk about that later. But yeah, I remember hearing about that, and I didn't realize how, I thought tower rushing was literally just placing towers all around the map for visibility. I thought Mongols did that a lot. I didn't realize what real tower rushing was until you feel real tower rushing, which was horrible. Anyway, yeah, so unbalanced civilization, French and Mongols, for example. There could be something else in there. I probably just, I'm kind of going off top here. I could leave something out. Who knows? But yeah, something else. Number 5. Oh yeah, just how OP some of, like, there were like literally like time frames of the game where things are just super strong. Everyone knows about Age of Sprinkles, which I didn't know was that big of a deal, but Sprinkles were, when the game first launched, were extremely strong. I believe they killed everything. I believe they killed units, they killed top, I think they killed everything. Sprinkles were extremely strong. Were literally the game, when you first hear about the game, you always hear about Age of Sprinkles, because Sprinkles were insane, and they're not meant to be like that. Of course, we saw that above, Age of Knights, where Knights were just running the ladder or quick match play. They're running it like crazy. The Mongols were like the cheesy. They were extremely efficient with being cheesy, with TC rushes, which I didn't even experience. I didn't realize it was a thing, but quick example, TC rushes, literally the Mongols would start the game and they would send their Khan out to the enemy's base. Once they found the base, they would move their TC right next to the enemy base, literally right next to it. And any villager you produce from your TC would immediately get lit up by the enemy TC, the Mongols TC, which is super cheesy. So all you do is just send the TC out, send all your starting villagers with it, garrison them up next to the enemy TC, and the enemy can no longer make economy. That would piss me off, 100%. Another thing, Age of Mangonels. Like, I mean, I feel like, people like kind of maybe gloss over this, maybe they don't. But the Mangonels were freaking super strong when the game first came out. Mangonels were ridiculous. I would play team games with my brother, and I remember I had a whole Mangonels. Keep in mind, at the time, Mangonels, they killed everything, But horsemen, knights, men-at-arms, archer, it didn't matter. Anything would get lit up. If you would literally spend so much time, you'll build a military of 100 units, and you will run up on the enemy, and they have 6 Mangonels, and you go from 100 to like 45 in a matter of seconds. And you're like, yo, Mangonels were a problem. I agree. I was there for it. I experienced it, and I felt that pain with you. They were trash. Let's go to the next one. Oh, yeah, another thing. Nuclear ships. So, and I didn't even realize, that's another thing I had on here in my head. Because I kind of have a mental list in my head that I kind of think about at work today, and I'm about to, like, something else I didn't think about by saying nuclear ships. Anyway, yeah, nuclear ships. Demolition ships were literally insane. They were literally insane. I mean, the Danube River is a big map that it happened a lot on before they had the bridges in. As your military units were crossing the bridge, you make about 2-3 demo ships, and you would kill the military. Like I said, same thing with the Mangonels, but honestly even quicker. If you got caught lacking going across that river, you send the demo ships in, 100 military will go down 2-3. maybe 0 actually. If depending on how bad it was, you would lose everything immediately. Was not a good time. Um, and actually, I'm gonna add because now me talking about ships. Something else that was really bad: water. Water was horrible. People argue it's still not that good, but it was not as bad as it was back then. Water was people hated water maps. Water was extremely unbalanced. First of all, fishing, it's still very good. Believe it or not, it was better back then. It was better. Fishing was insane. I don't know the exact numbers on it, but I know fishing, if you got on fishing early, you were good. And not even just that, but the water was unbalanced. Also, going back to the unbalanced sieve, the French, now they're pretty mid on water. Back then, they were juggernauts on water. They were insane. They got the ability to make hulks, which are Springo ships, in the feudal age, which I don't think any other civilization was able to do. So the moment they hit feudal, they had Springo ships on your head, which you could not get until Castle Age. Most ships. I don't know, but I think any of them did, had Springo ships. And French was insane. They had the Chamber of Commerce, which was good on water. That's why everyone vetoed water maps. I feel like now it might not be so bad. The waters were better. I mean, like, what's the map that was really popular? Not Archipelago, that map was trash. But Warring Islands. Maybe if that game that made a comeback, I think people would still be super pissed. But I think it won't be as bad as it was. It might actually not get vetoed as much as people think it would. But it pretty much is like 100% water map. So yeah. But anyway, yeah. Maybe like water. If a water map showed up now, it would not be as bad. But I'm going ahead of myself. Okay. Something that's very minuscule, but was like actually I realized is pretty bad that it did not come with this. No color picker. No color picker. You cannot, and I don't mean like that sounds actually kind of funny. Color picker. Why does that sound like somewhat offensive? Color picker. Anyway, yeah, you cannot pick the color of your civilization. It was pretty much red. If you were playing 1v1, it was red and blue. You were either red or blue. And I think actually, yeah, unique. I think if you did not have unique colors on, you were always blue. I think it's like that now, actually. You're always blue and the enemies are always red. But I think if you had unique colors on, then you were either red or blue. And if you play like a 4v4 or a team or like a map that was exceeded 2 players, then they just picked the color for you. You couldn't actually pick your preferred color. They just gave you a random one. You have to deal with it. So it was like a huge deal, but still something that's like, come on, dude, like really. Another thing, lack of custom settings. There were and it's getting better, but it still could be better. But there were a lack of custom settings. I mean, literally, something that's come on top of my head is that, which I didn't even realize. Quick little T-sip. Okay, real quick, we're going in. It's actually really good now. But yeah, the limited hotkeys. Limited hotkeys is actually something that's really important now. Like I have gotten spoiled now about the hotkeys, but I did not realize when I was first playing this game, you had to control group your production buildings. Like there was no option. There was no hotkey. Like now I use hotkeys for production buildings, but back then there weren't any. You had to control group them. Well, I'm getting a call from somebody on Discord. You probably hear that. I'm going to deny that. I'm going to message him and tell him 1 second. Let's see. That's beautiful. See, we do one take, though. That's my brother. He's trying to play. I'm going to say, call you making YouTube vid. Oh, yeah. We keep everything in. Okay, bet. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Where we at? Shit, threw my whole train of thought off. What talk about again? Oh yeah, no hotkeys. No hotkeys. Like I said, there were hotkeys. You can take that back, but limited hotkeys. And also, you had to use the grid mode. I like the grid mode. I like grid. But some players, maybe come from Age of Empires 2 or something, and like you don't play with grid, so like that throws you off. But they also, I forgot what it's called, but they unlocked the hotkeys where you now you don't have to use the grid. You can actually completely customize the keyboard yourself, which is it should launch with that. That's not good. So yeah, as I'm going through this list, I'm realizing the bad things that were in the game. Also, too, one big thing I almost slipped my mind: no global queue. Global queue means it's like when you make units or you make villagers, it shows you like, oh, okay, you got, you look to your, I don't know where it's located, maybe the bottom left of the map, and it show you like, okay, right now you have 5 villagers in production. Okay, you have, 3 or 4 military in production. That right there really helps me because I still struggle, but I'm nowhere near as bad as when I used to start playing. I used to forget to make villagers because I didn't realize I wasn't making villagers, or I didn't make military to back my military up because I didn't realize that I wasn't making, military. The global queue helps out a lot, in my opinion. Let's go another one. What am I at? 7, 6, 7, yeah, 8, 8. I think I'm 8. We're 8. Yeah. Useless landmarks. Now, this is something that's been kind of recently addressed, but for a majority of the game, there were a lot of, you call them like meme landmarks. Landmarks that you looked at them when it's time to age up, you looked at them, you just kind of giggled to yourself. Like, why would I ever go over there? Like, for example, the Abbey of Memes, which is for the English. Some people think it's still kind of a meme landmark. I think it's actually not that bad, but some people still think it's trash. But like ones that really made it come up, like, for example, the Kremlin for the Rus. Like, that's like a top tier landmark now, where before it was a joke. The Chamber of Commerce, which now has a little bit more, more to it, was also like, it's actually, I think still the other French landmark, which is the School of Cavalry, is still more popular, but Chamber of Commerce is actually builds that are relevant around it. The Royal Institute, which when I first started playing the game, the Guild Hall is all you win. Now the Royal Institute, they're both, Guild Hall is still good, but Royal Institute is just also good. So now you are just more, the game becomes more relevant around what type of way, like you actually have, like by the time you hit the castle age, you can think, do I go, this game might go a little longer, should I go Guild Hall? Or I got 50 knights in the field already, I might as well make these knights elite. So let me go Royal Institute. And, Tower of Defeat, another one, which it could be 50-50 or it could be used more by the Delhi. It's insane how much better it's gotten. Minework Palace, I don't think it's as good as the other HRE landmark, but it's relevant. The Cognate Palace for the Mongols, still think it's not that good because it's RNG based. I'm not going to be going in depth about what got better, but it's better than it was. It was never being used before. And there's more. There's more. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. I remember those would come to mind because I do a podcast. Shout out podcast members. It's called The Extra Sheet, headed by my dude, Socraton. He's doing very good work over there. I guess I'm a reoccurring. I guess I'm on the panel. That's pretty cool, I guess. But yeah, we was talking about the landmarks, so these ones kind of really popped in my head. It kind of inspired me to make this video. It's pretty crazy. Anyway. And so number 9, yeah, we did that. Number 9, yep, team games. Team games were not that good when the game first launched. If you ask me, they weren't horrible, but they were lacking. One of the biggest things I will say is that team games were very centered around landmark sniping. When you played the game, it could be a 2v2. Usually, your goal was to landmark snipe one opponent, get them out of the game, and then just go kill. You could just 2v1 the other one. Landmark sniping was a huge thing. And usually if you have your enemy, like you have all his landmarks gone, usually you're going to win anyway, but it still leaves room for comeback. And it's not as viable of a strategy as it was when the game first came out. Now it's more so, like it could be a 1v1, on one side, 1v1, like it could be 1v1 v 1v1. Like that's more common now. There's still a lot of teaming, gang banging and team games, but it's not as much of a style as it used to be, because that pretty much solely was a style. That was it, or just wonder whoring. I call it wonder whoring because like pretty much you just kind of wall up and then maybe make something. I played a game literally where they walled up, went all defensive, and just built a wonder. And then just kind of like made a million keeps and a million towers. And like the game really didn't have any action. It just literally walled up and built a wonder. And won the game. And that's actually happened a lot back in the day on team games. And that used to piss me off all the time. And the map's really big to start on team games. You know, I think they kind of just chisel them down throughout each, like, you know, maybe like for example, the old 2v2 map is like maybe not like the, I don't know, man. Okay, the 3v3 map pool back in the day is now the 4v4, and the 3v3 is now the 2v2. And maybe as it goes on, they scutter down, like just make it more where it's more action based, which is it. I didn't realize how much of a difference that makes, because it is more action based now. Because literally, the game, there used to be Wonderhorn. The maps were so big before, it used to be Wonderhorn. You just wonder, wall up wonder. That's all you gotta do. Another thing too that just pissed me off back then. I mean, the map pool was whatever, I guess. I mean, it could be better still to this day. But one last thing, okay, kind of hinting to the something I said earlier. No ranked. I mean, there's no ranked on team games, so really, not much incentive to like really grind it, because you're not ranking. You're just playing for fun. And I mean, this game can be fun, but it's really the grind that makes the game beautiful. And last thing I can really think at the top of my head, which may be the biggest thing, while the game launched in a very poor state, is dude, this freaking cat scared the doo-doo out of me. Sorry, got distracted. Lack of communication from the developers. I think it was season 2 or 3. I think it was 2. When season 2 came out, let's say the end of season 1. So season 1 came out, and when it ended, season 2 was expected to be right around the corner. I remember this. This is probably my lowest point of Age of Empires 4, where I was literally like, I don't know if I'm still gonna keep playing this game. Season 1 ended, and everyone expected because season 2 had a lot of new things coming to it. New camera angle, had shit, what else? It had a lot of stuff. But dude, what the F? I'm not gonna block this out. Freaking door, this freaking got the windows open. Hearing stuff in the background. Anyway, yeah. So season 1 ended, and season 2 came around, but there was like a freaking couple week gap in between. And once season 1 ended, literally there was nothing. Like nothing. Like literally. Like just the developers say, thank you for playing season 1. This was your ending rank. And then just boom. They just left. And it's like, what? What was that? What? And then boom. So that was horrible. And they just want to let everybody know, like, I mean, they still kind of do a little better. I mean, I guess they really want to, like, really, like, blue ball us with their new civilizations. Like, no one knows when they were coming. It's all speculation, but they're better. Let's say that. They're better. But, yeah, okay, so I'm kind of trying to, like, I mean, I'm already getting long-winded. Let's see how long we've been going. Where I broke the fourth wall. I've been going 32 minutes already, and I haven't even got to what makes the game improve. So I hate that I talk so much, but we're going for it. So, from the things that I said above, I want to talk about, like, now, try maybe a little bit quicker, but what has gotten better? Like, what, like, you know, in this year and a half span, what is different from when the game first launched? Because a lot has been fixed, to tell you the truth. So first thing I'll say, the biggest problem we had was 8 civilizations when it first launched. They added 2 more civilizations. So now we're not at 8, we're at 10. Okay, still sounds low, but we did get more civilizations, and it's obvious that there's more to come. And the civilization that we got added, which were the Ottomans and the Malians being pretty big surprise. No one expected that, but they were free. They were free. Maybe as an apology, like, sorry, you know, we kind of fucked up when the game first launched, but here you go. You got 2 free civilizations, and there's obviously, unless the game literally gets murdered, let's say at least stop all support 100%. Which I doubt, even though this is actually the same day that Relic announced that they released a good amount of their work staff, which is pretty sad, unfortunate for them. But you know, hope they get on their feet. But I don't think that means that they're gonna just drop AOE like 4. I don't think so. But another thing I mentioned, there was no rank mode. There's a rank mode now. Obviously, there is a rank mode for 1v1 and team games. And I don't know if AoE 2 has this, but there's actual titles added to the rank mode. You know, from the lowest, and we got bronze, silver, gold. Shout out gold. That's me. I might gold 3, platinum 1. I kind of vary. I'll get platinum 1, and I'll do my thing, and then I'll lose. And I'll lose a lot. And I'll go back to gold 3. Breaks my heart. But, yeah, they got gold, and they got platinum. and then they got Diamond, and then there's Conqueror, and there's 3 levels of each of those. And they come with a dope little emblem, and you get a dope reward at the end of the season, and like it literally encourages grinding the game. Like there's such a big difference between ranks that like literally like it's your identity in the game, which is very important, very important. But the game didn't launch with that, and that was very bad. Obviously, there are new mods and maps added to the game on the regular, and some maps are custom made for tournaments in game modes in the game, and that is really good. And it really does like, I mean, somebody made a new mod for. I mean, like it kind of really helps casual play. You know, it's great for tournaments and great for making new rule sets, but it's also really good for casual play, like Aussie Drongo. Big play. I mean, if you pretty much follow the scene, you pretty much everybody who follows AoE 4, he's pretty much the most popular person of all AoE 4. He's had a tournament, Outback Octagon 2. He had a custom mod for it, which made it really fun, a lot of entertainment. Boom, you know, that wasn't possible when the game first came out. I believe there's mods available the first time he did it, but still, get my point. There's mods now. The civilizations, they feel more balanced across the board, probably excluding, you know, Malians. But across the board, I mean, I think the lowest civilization might have like a 48% win rate across like all different levels, which may not sound good, but it's actually very close to 50% win rate, and that's really good. Like, I mean, I'm not a AoE, I mean, I'm not like a RTS, you know, veteran, but any game where there's like, you know, balancing, and there's the lowest has 48%, and maybe the highest has like 52, 53, that is pretty good. That's like a 5% difference is actually really good for any game. Let's go. What else did I say above? That was a problem. I'm kind of like writing these down on my phone as I've been saying them because I kind of want to go back and. Oh yeah, so I put 4 or 5. I put back when there was like different time periods of the game. That really doesn't exist anymore. Age of Springles is not a thing anymore. Springles now serve a purpose, and they're not OP. They target. They're anti-siege. That's what they do. They're anti-siege. You can still kill units with them, but they're nowhere near as effective. You know, I mean, you're not about to go to battle with a whole bunch of Sprinkles. You're going to lose them all. They're going to get rolled down. They're going to get blown up. Knights are still really strong, but they're way easier to deal with. You can't just flood enemy with knights and expect to win. You need to be a little more strategic with it. French, at one point in time, was very, very, I mean, through patches and updates, they kind of nuked them a little bit. Not really, but they kind of made them weaker. But French, you know, they are very middle of the board. Like, you know, they're still really good. Premium civilization, if you ask me. But yeah, the knights are easier to deal with. You can't just spam knights and win. Tower Rush really isn't as effective as it used to be. You know, it's still a thing, but you can't just Tower Rush forever now. Not a thing, like really. I mean, it's a thing, but it's not as strong as it used to be. TC Rush is non-existent. I never dealt with it, but it's not a thing anymore. They they added a patch where you can only dock your TC so many tiles away from the enemy TC. A good update, and killed that immediately. And actually, something that was very popular with Chinese that is not going to be as popular as it was is Barbican Rushing. And Barbican Rushing was pretty much the same thing as TC Rush, but not as cheesy, but still pretty cheesy. You get a bunch of Chinese villagers who build very fast and build a Barbican as a hand cannon slit right on top of the enemy base, or right outside of a very critical resource. Very annoying, but now they have patched it to where it's 8 tiles away now. So that changed that up. And another thing, yeah, you can pick your color now. It's like 8 color selections. You can pick them, they look good. Yeah, I mean, that was something that really, like, that's pretty wild. That wasn't in the game to start. Yeah, hotkeys are being added every single patch. They're the game is way more quality of life better when the game first launched. Way better. And they actually added another camera view. A lot of players from, especially AoE 2, when they first started playing the game, they complained that the camera was too zoomed in. Which, I played both and actually kind of go back between both. I think I'm now kind of chilling with Classic. Nah, no, I'm not. I didn't even say Classic, Panoramic. I think I'm chilling more with Panoramic now. Because they both do serve a purpose. They're better in their own way. But, Yeah, the camera now you have an option. You can be super zoomed in, or you can be a little more zoomed out and got more map awareness. That's something that wasn't implemented in the game at the first start. They might add more later, who knows? And another thing that kind of is, I think, just this recent patch, season 3 or 4, maybe, I think it's 4 that this was added in there. But season 4, the latest patch, was very centered around landmark reworks. So all those lame ass landmarks I listed above are way stronger now, way stronger. I told you Kremlin was like a joke, and now it's like one of the best landmarks in the game. Like a lot of landmarks that weren't being used are now way better. The Abbasid Dynasty, which I love to play now, I mean, their House of Wisdom is so dynamic now. You can play so many different ways. The game it's dynamic is literally the way to describe the game in one word. You can do so many different things, so many different ways. But the landmarks, I mean, I can go into every single one, but that would make this video 3 hours long. But the landmarks are a lot more viable. And the ones that aren't, they're still trying to make more viable. The devs are paying attention to what people are doing. Team games, it's still, they can use some balance. Especially comes down to random queuing. But they made it to where now, I don't know if they make this game toxic or not, but they made it to where it's not implemented yet, but they're going to make it to where you can actually communicate with random people you queue with online. Which, if it works out well, it's going to be great. But it might increase the toxicity of the game a little bit more. Because a lot of times you're losing, it's way easier to blame your teammate than blame yourself. And dudes might be cussing each other out on public matches. It happens. But and then probably last but not least, the devs, they communicate a lot better. Still could probably be better. Cause they don't really do very well addressing the doom and gloom. The AoE 4 Doomers are gonna be there no matter what. And that's a real title. AoE 4, I forgot what streamer I was watching, but I heard them say it earlier, and it really is a real title. AoE 4 Doomers. People that just gonna no matter what, after the game is in the worst state possible. And they still do it and still are going to do it. I'm just here to let the good people know they're being dramatic. It's not that serious. But anyway, yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're updating the game the game is trending up. And that's really all that matters. The game is not getting worse. The game has not gotten worse since the launch. The game has only gotten better. It still has more improvements to be made. It still has problems, of course. The game still has problems. The game still can be improved. But guess what? So can every game out there. There's nothing perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a perfect game. Some people are gonna have changes to the game. People are gonna like it. People are gonna be pissed by it. People are gonna leave. People are gonna come. There's really no way to perfect that. But you just gotta support it. And you gotta be a little bit more transparent with us. You know what I'm saying? Gotta be a little more transparent. Not too transparent. We know you got things going on behind the scenes, but don't let people think this game's just dying tomorrow. Because I don't believe it is. Shit, I could be 100% wrong, and tomorrow I could have egg on my face, and the game, they come out and be like, yeah, this game's trash, we're done with it, we're going to support over here now. But really, there's no need for that. The game's on the come up. The game could have a better player base, but it's still healthy enough to support it. If they're still supporting Age of Empires 3, why stop supporting 4? Because 3, that shit's dead. But some people playing it. I'm tripping. And also another thing too, probably last thing I'll touch on here. It's still the pro scene is still active. It's a little shaky because there's a little game in the distance called Stormgate, which a lot of people like. The game. I hope the game just makes RTS popular as a whole. But a lot of people are just like I go to a lot of Twitch chat, especially at work. Everyone's like, hey bro, like this game's awesome, but when you're excited for Stormgate? And it's like, dude, that game's like a freaking over a year away. Like when that game comes around, then they'll talk like, Jesus Christ, you're asking, like, you're ready to when Stormgate, like, you got to switch to Stormgate, and it's like possibly, but we don't know what the game's like. And it's still different. But yes, the pro scene's still active, it's still tournaments going on. That's good. Still receiving a lot of support. The community is still very supportive. I run a little Discord, Griabara, whoever. I put the link in the chat. Whoever made it this far, I doubt anybody made it this far. But, put that link in there if you want to join. Everybody's welcome. team games, 1v1s, free for alls, whatever, man. We just living out here. We living. I recognize the game is a quality game. The game, I have played trash games. The game's not trash. The game did have rocky launch, but a lot of games had a rocky launch. Lots of games have rocky launches. It's very sad in today's era. It shouldn't be that way. But we can't keep holding a grudge. People are literally holding a grudge. The game launched bad. Maybe it broke their heart, and I get it. It's not cool for games you really look forward to not live up to it from the start. But to still kind of continue that same, the game's clunky, the game's bad, the game, blah, 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 blah. Just like, dude, play it or don't. Play it, hey man, welcome, let's go, let's get these 1v1s, get these team games going. If you don't like the game, excuse my French, fuck on then. Go play something else, it's fine. I would never camp outside of a games community and just start bitching why are you going in there? Oh, everybody in there is lame. I don't know why you even go in there. Everybody in there is lame. You just not even go in there. Somebody's like, well, I'll check the party out at least. No point in checking it out. This game's lame. That's lame in there. Don't even go in there. It's stop the gatekeeping. If the game, sorry man, fucking apartment's quiet as hell. If the Dude, all these fucking noises up here. This is the most unprofessional fucking. This is off the top. I think he's just really good as headphones. I'm picking up everything in the background. But anyway, yeah, dude, let the game fucking stretch. Let the game stretch. How long have we been going? It's probably time to shut up now. Holy shit. Okay, 46 minutes. Okay, so about 47 minutes, which is super long. But that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, just let the game. Maybe I'll switch up to 50 minutes. Because I'm just talking now. Had a lot of unprofessional moments in this stream. I'm sorry. I keep hearing. These headphones are great. I keep hearing shit in the background. It's crazy. But yeah, let the game stretch its legs, dude. Jesus. RTS games last a very long time. From what I've seen. If they're good, look at AoE, look at StarCraft. StarCraft, apparently it's on the decline, especially Stormgate. Stormgate is a huge threat to StarCraft. It can be a threat to AoE 4. It's a for sure threat to StarCraft, which is very unfortunate. I think Stormgate will save, that community, but right now, it's looking a little doom and gloom over there. That's unfortunate. But, like I was saying, kind of train thought a little bit. But, like I was saying, StarCraft came out, 2011? It's been big since 2011. At one point in time, it was freaking huge. AoE 4. Not AoE 4, AoE 2. Been out since 99. And it's still kicking. They got, updated, but still kicking. Still the same game at heart. Warcraft. Warcraft's more community driven. But these games last a long time. It's not like first person shooters where a couple years you make a new one. It's not really need. You can keep the same community fed for a very long time. So let the game at least live a little before you're already, just dooming it. Oh, dead, move on, game's dead. You sound like a bitter ex-boyfriend or ex-anything. You sound bitter. And I'm sorry if I'm coming off mean. But that's something bitter people do. Maybe you're dating a girl, you guys break up, been on the best terms, and you just hate her forever. You hate her forever. You see her moving on, see her looking happy with somebody else, you're just like, okay. I'll bet she still sucks at cooking. It's like, dude, time to move on, brother. You okay? And it's not really the same as that. It's just, I'm just giving a comparison, not the exact same, obviously. But really, it's like you're either gonna play it and enjoy it and come in with an open mind and invest in the future of that type of medieval RTS, or stick at what you're used to. That's fine. Or just leave the community altogether. Go play another game. But to sit around and just slander something that I'm pretty sure in the back of your head isn't that bad, or you're just bad, one of the two, it's unnecessary. But yeah, you know what? I've been talking way too long and a lot of pauses in here. I want to go back and edit it, but nah, I'm not doing that. Giving you guys the raw audio. Keep hearing shit in the background. Like, I think these headphones keep picking up. My freaking windows open and the blinds are like smacking off the sides and it sounds like somebody's freaking coming through my window. And that would suck if I got assassinated mid recording. I would hope he would still upload it, because then that'd be pretty good. You hear all the commotion in the background, me fight for my life. That'd be insane. Yeah, so this has been, once again, a tangent rant all over the place. But yeah, it's, certain levels. And I've always been here almost as an update to whoever had dropped the game or whoever has not picked it up yet. Whatever you hear out there in the wild about the game being super bad, it's just false. There's bad games and there's good games. If they don't prefer it, that's fine. But saying the game is bad is just a false statement. It is. The player base could be better, and people who play the game want to see it better and see it alive. But saying the game at its core is not good is false. And most likely those people are just want to gatekeep it and don't want to see the game grow, or are trash at it. It's one or the other. There's no reason, no way somebody's playing this game and they just pick out all these problems. Unless they're coming in with that reason to pick out problems. Anybody who plays the game with open mind, I've not met a single person who's like, yeah, I played the game, put about 50 hours into it, learned a couple saves, game just sucks. Doubt it. Haven't met one yet. Haven't. But yeah, this is your boy Sir Nevils. Literally horrible, raining for like almost an hour. It's terrible. But yeah, just play the game. Enjoy it. But yeah, everyone have a beautiful night. It is currently 1:47 in the morning right now. And I probably should eat something. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. But all right, it's your boy. Everyone have a beautiful life, and you're all beautiful people. Au revoir.